So let's start. I see already one question for Damien Groulus. We already started the recording of this session and we will upload the video to YouTube afterwards, so you will be able to send the video to your colleague. So let's start. So today I'm Alexandre Ballonnet. I'm the lead dev for the GLPI project. And so today we will start by presenting you some features about the inventory part of GLPI and GLPI agents and stuff like that. And we will continue with some question and answers after that. And sorry for my accent. I try my best to be understandable. So let's start. The first point of GLPI 10 is we have a new API system for accepting inventory file from agent integrated directly into GLPI without the need of a plugin, an additional plugin for that, and with this URL where you can set up your agent for, you can send inventory file directly. But we have agent for that, but you can also, with reading the specification, develop your own agent, your own program to send directly to GLPI some inventory data. We'll see after that how you can do that and what you can expect from this API. We have on this new API two formats of two protocols supported. We have the historical with XML used by OCS at first, and then by Fusion Inventory. We support this XML format at this time. If this project do some evolution of this format or do another format change, we will not support it in the future. But for former agent, for former XML, we support this data. And we have a new one where I passed you some information about that with a JSON format, which is more lighter, more readable, and at this point is almost the same as the XML data, but with another way to format the data. If you can pass to the links, Paulina, thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we should share the slides.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to share my screen. It should be better. Sorry for that.
Yes, now it's okay.
Thank you. So, as I say, we have for two formats, the former one in XML and the new one in JSON, and you have some URL to know about more, to know more about the JSON format. And as I said, we support all the formats, all XML formats for OCS Fusion Inventory. So for now, you can keep your existing agent, your existing Fusion Inventory agent, as we support is XML format. And the only issue in parentheses is your current agent targets an old URL, which is not the GLPI native inventory. You have many ways to overcome this issue, like Proxy. I show you right now a way to do this with a mod rewrite of Apache. You can rewrite the URL with a permanent redirect, and this work for inventory part of the agent. We have some new feature directly in GLPI relative to the inventory. with this native inventory, we can now support existing tip, but you can send now inventory for this tip like appliance, list, license, certificate. In fact, almost all data you find in the management menu can be sent to the API of native inventory and will be managed by the systems. So in the future, we'll work on a new program to send certificate inventory on assets, or we worked with some partners to do some appliance. We talk in this week about that. License can be done also, but the fact is all management tip can now be supported by the API. And for a much clear view, you can see in the rules to linking equipment, you have now tabs to see every tip supported by the system. So, and for this separation, you can now view all rules in the first tab with the all tabs, but you can see each types with its own set of rule to a much clearer view. We have also a big feature. We are very proud of this. We now support partial inventory, both on the GLPI side, on the native inventory part, and in the agent. And on the agent, you can test this with the partial option, and you can see the help option to see that. And on the native inventory, it will detect you have a partial key in your inventory file, and it will not remove all data, update data. It will not remove all data. It will just update the existing node you are sending. In this case, you see we are sending only the operating system of the machine. And we can imagine for the same for volume, for softwares, for anything you have in the inventory file. You only say I want this part, and I will send and I send only this part to the GLPI inventory server, and it will be done. So the main interest in this is the response time. The processing by the agent and the processing by GLPI when the agent sends to GLPI and GLPI compute all the data of the inventory file, take on my personal computer with a SSD and a wafer correct processor, take like 20 seconds to be done and for the partial parts, for just operating system, it takes less than 1 second. So we can imagine in a scenario like we do some a full inventory like one time a day, and small inventory like volume supervision like each minute or something like that. By the path, if you reduce the frequency of an inventory of an agent, and you have a lot of agents, like thousands of agents in your IT, your Apache server will be done by the request of the agent. So with this partial feature, you can do a full inventory each day and have the important data sent in a very small frequency if you want. Also, with the native inventory, development of additional inventory is made easy. We have already this small plugin, small feature. We have a Nutanix plugin in development. We have SSAM plugin for a long time, but we rework with it with the native inventory. The fact is, as we don't need an additional plugin to do inventory, we can directly develop plugins for systems very quickly, like 2 or 3 days of development for a new system. If this system has an API, we can develop a plugin very quickly. So this is the point of having also the native inventory directly in the core. And not related to native inventory, but a quick remind of an inventory feature in GLPI 10, sorry. You can now directly have pictures in your assets if you want. Just fill the model of your assets. You can see it's a Power Edge currently. And click on the eye letter, the eye icon, fill the picture, and when you return on the computer, you will see directly the pictures. So uh, for the transition between old plugin, old system, and the new one, we have a transitional plugin for doing this. It's available in marketplace. It's called GLPI Inventory, and it do a lot of things. Um, the first thing to say about this, it's a fork of the Fusion Inventory plugin, the last plugin released on 9.5. And we moved a lot of things in this plugin to do this transitional period. The first one is all the inventory part of the plugin, of the old plugin, was removed, and it's redirect all data received to the core, to the native inventory. And next, it carries the advanced task we don't have yet in GLPI, like the network task, like SNMP queries and discovery. We have the deployment also and ES6 queries. All this stuff, all these tasks are kept in the plugin to have some transition period where we will develop this feature in GLPI or in dedicated plugin. And also, the plugin migrates important data to the core, like the rules, because we removed it from the plugin. It moves also the logs, global logs, and assets logs, units logs to the core. And we have a lot of migration in the background, but I don't remember all of this. Sorry for a minute. I continue. Just a quick recall also. We have from since month, I'll say since month, but in fact it's since here, we have an unread agent on the Google Play Store. We do inventory, its role, and when you can set up the server for GLPI agent, it's supported. It was for the plugin in Fusion Inventory previously, but it was already called the GLPI Android agent in the past. But now it's also supports the new native inventory. You have just to change the servers to target the root URL of your GLPI, and it will be done also. And for recall also, in GLPI Network subscription, we have some quick setup available where with a QR code, you can set up the Android agent to be to target the GLPI server very quickly. And it's not done already, but we have an option in development to choose directly from the agent if we send an inventory of, of type of phone or a computer one. Because at the moment when you send an Android inventory, your inventory is placed directly in computer with your servers, with your personal computers. So it can be very strange at first, but the reason is historical, is because Android smartphones have volume, have softwares, and in the past, GLPI only supports software, this kind of data, only for the computer chips. With GLPI 10, it's done. We have now software. We have volumes. We have components, devices for phones also, and in a very short term, you will be able to choose if you want to have your inventory file from smartphone to be sent to directly to assets phones on menu and try. I'll take the question after if you want. I get the detail at just after the presentation. And for transition, we have so now a new GLPI agent. It's a fork of Fusion Inventory 2.6, released in November 2020. And from this time, we developed a lot of feature, a lot of packaging, support of hardwares, of recent hardwares like Apple M1, sorry. And for a quick historic, we on the Fusion Inventory agent, most of the development was done by tech lead developers. So we continue, in fact, under a new name. But it's the same. It's just the continue of the work on our trademark. And let's continue in with some detail. For this agent, we have now a lot of new packaging, a new way of packaging. We have signed MSC package for Windows. We have GMG and PKG for macOS, validated by Apple. I didn't remember the correct term, but the point is validated by Apple. And also we have new packaging for Linux with app image and snap. We checked about Flatpak, but it may come in the future, but at the moment we have it's not on the roadmap already. We have also an installation script written in Perl to ease the installation on Linux environment. You take only the script, you execute it, and by default, it will choose for you the correct package for your environment. You have many ways to force a correct package if you want. We have a lot of options for this part, but the point is we have one script for Linux. Uh, it's like the one existing for Windows in VBS. The same goal, but with a lot more of option. And so the package, the script will show the package RPM, snap, etc., based on your current environment. Let's talk about new features of the GLPI agent. We have a lot of topic here, and I think it will be interesting for you. The most important one is remote inventory. With this protocol, for Linux and Unix, we use SSH, and for Windows, we use WinRM protocol. There is a big picture. The fact is, for this feature, we only need one agent installed on one computer, one trusted computer, and this agent will remotely connect to host and ask about inventory data on this host with the previous protocol altered. And it saves the data locally, and then after getting all the remote host data, it sends all files to the GLPI server. And with this way, you don't need to deploy agent on each host, on each computer to have inventory. You have one trusted computer asking for each remote with SSH within WinRM. And you can expect almost all the same data uh, in front of a local installation of a GLPI agent. For SSH, it's the same command executed, so it's the same. For WinRM, we have some very small parts missing, but I think it's not very important. We have like 99% of this data available with remote inventory. You can set up this currently only in CLI. You add a host, you can list remote host, and you can send this data. And so if you want to plan, uh, you want to schedule this remote inventory, you should be able to do with cron task at the moment. We are currently working very actively on this feature. We have some identified issue, like currently each host is inventoried sequentially. We currently work on a parallelization of queries, and but right now it already works, and I hope you will test this feature and say us how you found it extra. And so uh, like I show you right now, we can only set up this feature from the command line. We will work obviously on a GLPI UI for this in the incoming month. But it's a very fresh feature, and we have only CLI for the moment. But we'll talk about another interface just after, and you will see we may have some interface before having one in GLPI directly. We have also a proxy server plugin. It's it's it works from the same system, but not on the same final purpose. In this mode, you have the classic installation of your agent on each computer, and you have a trusted agent which serve at a proxy one, and each GLPI agent targets not the GLPI server, but will target the GLPI agent proxy. And this proxy will send the inventory data to the GLPI server. You can securize the only channel of sending data as you want, but the point is all GLPI agents send their inventory directly to the agent, and the agent send the inventories files to the GLPI server. You can do this very easily on your proxy agent. You enable the feature, and on each final agent, on each client, you set up the server not on the GLPI but on the IP of the trusted agent with the correct URL. Um, Another feature you can do a revert a revert interrogation, a revert queries where a trusted computer requests is the initial queries to the final computer. And so it starts with an inventory request. The remote computer runs the local inventory and send back the inventory file to the trusted computer. And the trusted computer store locally the inventory file and then submit inventory to the GLPI server. So if you have agent in daemon mode, in service mode, but you don't want them to initiate the inventory part. Only do when you want by a trusted computer. You can do also this way. Uh, Another feature, I illustrate it by the partial I talked before in the GLPI part, but we have now also database inventory of when a computer have local installation of a MySQL, Oracle, MS SQL, or I don't remember all the databases supported, but here is the main ones. And as you can see, Postgre, exactly. As you can see, so my computer, I remove a lot of GLPI database I have locally, but you see the database inventoried in the JSON file. And when you send this to a GLPI server, you will have the management database field by this data, and a link will be created between the database and the computer. And you have on the computer a database tab with all this information and with the relative size of database. Also, if you enable in a dedicated file for configuration, you have now for the agent a new interface where you can do some quick task and some quick setup for the agent. We have a new interface matching the GLPI style where you can create local inventory, network scan like SNMP queries for discovery and queries. You can set up credential, you can set up MIB supports, and in a short term, you will be able to do remote, you will be able remote inventories, you will be able to do some scheduling of your task. The fact is, I show you in some slide ago uh, the proxy mode with a DMZ schema, and in some scenario you may not want to have any exchange between the proxy agent and GLPI and validate inventory file manually, store them on a USB device, and upload to the GLPI server manually. And for this scenario, you want an interface to create your task, to do your inventory, and have an easier life to do this exchange, manual exchange between servers. We have currently a customer doing this in a high risk industry where the separation is very strict. For remote inventory task, I don't know, but we currently worked very actively on the remote inventory task, and it should be very soon, like in the year, I think. And you're able to see obviously the results of inventory, etc. You'll find all this task, all this feature in the GLPI agent documentation. The documentation is very, very complete. I suggest you to see this documentation. Is Guillaume who work on the agent fill every feature, every task, describe it very quickly for each development, and I think it's a it's a good documentation at this time. Thanks, Paulina. And for the short-term roadmap, there is a list of picket points. We have obviously a lot of points on developing at the moment, but there is some key points. For the native inventory on plugin parts, we worked already on a standalone deployment plugin where we redo all the interface uh, and with a dedicated task not merged with SNMP1. I think personally, from an UX point of view, you need to have a module where the deployment is a standalone. And for a medium long term roadmap, we will work on integrate this standalone plugin directly in the core. But it's not for today. We already work on a small plugin for this. It will be available in couple of months, I think, something like that. And after the release of this development plugin, we will do the same with discovery inventory part and maybe a 6 after. But the fact is, we want to have small parts, a small plugin for each task. From a development point of view, they reused a lot of backend work of GLPI. We don't communicate in our webinar or in our news, but we want small module enabled at need from our customer, from our partner, users, etc. And from for agent roadmap, where I already say this in a previous slide, but we will have a parallel execution for remote inventory, scheduling of tasks in the toolbox interface, and more obviously. And as for the presentation, thank you for attendees. And I'll start to take question. You already send in the QA part of